In a small, quaint room nestled on the outskirts of the city, young Sarah spent her days lost in a world of imagination. Her room, a sanctuary of books and toys, held secrets even she didn't fully understand. But one day, her world took a sinister turn. It was a rainy afternoon when Sarah discovered the doll. Sitting innocently on her bed, it had porcelain skin and an unsettling smile that seemed to grow wider as she approached. Its eyes, a piercing shade of blue, followed her every move as if it were alive. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine, but curiosity got the better of her. Night fell quickly that evening. The room, dimly lit by a solitary lamp, took on an eerie atmosphere. Sarah lay in bed, her mind restless with thoughts of the strange doll. Suddenly she heard it, soft footsteps barely audible over the patter of rain on the roof. They echoed in the silence, drawing closer. Sarah's heart raced as she sat up, straining to listen. Through the darkness she saw movement, a faint shadow dancing across the walls. Then came the giggles, faint and chilling, like whispers from another world. She turned towards her bed and there it was, the doll, sitting upright, its gaze fixed upon her. Its blue eyes seemed to glow in the dim light, locking onto Sarah with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. The doll's smile widened, taking on a malevolent curve that made Sarah's breath catch in her throat. Fear seized her as she realized the doll was not just a toy, it was something else, something alive with a dark purpose. "Let's play together forever," the doll whispered, its voice a haunting melody that echoed through the room. Sarah trembled, unable to tear her gaze away from those unnerving blue eyes. She wanted to scream, to run, but something held her in place, a strange fascination mixed with dread. Night after night the footsteps returned, always accompanied by the faint giggles that seemed to taunt her sanity. The doll never moved from its perch on the bed, yet its presence grew stronger with each passing day. Sarah felt like a prisoner in her own room, trapped with this malevolent entity that refused to let her go. As weeks turned into months, Sarah's health began to deteriorate. Dark circles framed her eyes and she jumped at the slightest sound. Her parents grew concerned, unable to understand the terror that had gripped their once lively daughter. They tried to remove the doll, but each time they did, it would reappear on Sarah's bed the next morning, its smile wider than before. Desperate for answers, Sarah turned to old books and whispered legends of haunted dolls. She learned of spirits bound to objects, of restless souls seeking companionship in the living. The more she read, the more she realized the doll had chosen her, and it would never let her go. One stormy night, as thunder roared outside and rain lashed against the windows, Sarah made a decision. With trembling hands, she gathered her courage and approached the doll. Its eyes gleamed in the flickering light, but this time, Sarah felt a strange calm wash over her. "I release you," she whispered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "Go back to where you came from." For a moment nothing happened. The room held its breath as if even the storm outside had paused to listen. Then slowly the doll's smile softened, its eyes dimmed, losing their eerie glow, and with a final sigh it slumped forward, becoming just a lifeless toy once more. Sarah collapsed onto her bed, tears mingling with relief and exhaustion. The weight that had plagued her for so long lifted, leaving behind a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. She knew the doll was gone, its spirit released back into the shadows from whence it came. But as she drifted into a restless sleep, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere, in the darkness beyond her room, those blue eyes still watched, waiting for another soul to ensnare in their eternal game. Was a tale of eerie fascination and chilling realization, reminding us that some toys hold secrets far darker than we could ever imagine.